So finally, a storm has come in that's dropped enough water to help flush the delta out and start to raise lake levels here in the Central Valley. What's that going to do for the fishing? Well, you just have to check out the report. Before we do the report, we're going to take a look at a few pictures from some of the successful anglers that braved last week's storm. So let's take a look at those pictures, then we'll get right into the report. Hi everyone, thanks for joining me. You're watching In Deep on the Delta. This is the weekly fishing report for November 20th. Been kind of a reset week. We've had anywhere from 2.5 to 3 inches of water dump, depending on where you are in Central California. So it's kind of a reset week. So with that, let's get into a little river business, and then we'll get right into the report. This weekend, we have the Fairfield Sassoon Bass Reapers sponsoring the 2025 Lake Berryessa Open. That's going to be Saturday, November 22nd. They'll be running out of Puda Canyon Campground. If you have any questions, you can get a hold of the Bass Reapers at their website, and that's www.bassreapers.org. We have a big Black Friday sale out at the Bass Hole. Rob's going to be having his sale starting Friday, and it's going to run through the weekend. That's a Black Friday sale. It's going to be both online and in the store all weekend. If you have any questions, call Rob at 925-813-9485. That concludes our river business. We'll talk a little bit about Clear Lake. We'll give you a little rundown on Don Pedro, then we'll get into the Delta stripers and largemouth bass. So we got a report from Clear Lake Outdoors. I talked to Dave up there. The big news up there, they had the BAM Super 60 tournament last weekend. I think they had a 32 boat field. And you have to remember, no practice for these guys. They were off the water for about a month. They show up, they get to basically practice fish or qualify for 2 days. Then the third day, the top 10 fish for the money. So the big fish of the tournament big weight of the tournament for the 3 days came on the first day, and that was a 29.7 pound limit. That's not too bad. It's not 30, 35, 40 pounds like Clear Lake's capable of, but that's not bad. Here's where the rubber meets the road, kind of. So last day, the third day, we've got 10 guys fishing for the money. First place was 27.9 pounds. Second place was 24.5 pounds. Those are still pretty darn good weights. Third place dropped all the way down to 16.5 pounds. Between fourth place and 10th place, it went from about 15 pounds all the way down to 3 pounds. That's some pretty tough fishing, and I can tell you the 2 days leading into the final day, the field did not do well. A lot of guys struggled. They had trouble finding fish. Talked to Dave about that, and he says, you got to find them, you got to catch them, and when you have no time to get out there and locate the fish, it becomes much harder. Dave says there's a ton of bait. The lake is in good condition. Just have to wait for Clear Lake to reset. Give it a couple days. Give them a call up at Clear Lake Outdoors, and they will give you the information that you need to go up there and catch some fish. And that number would be 707-262-5852. And remember, it's kind of a reset week up there. I know most of the guys that were catching them in the tournament on the third day, they caught them on deep diving crankbaits. But give Dave a call up there. He'll give you some up-to-date information as the lake starts to kind of level out and the fishing gets back to normal. Also talked to Central Valley Bait, talked to Aaron up there, Central Valley Bait and Tackle. We talked about Don Pedro. They really got hit by the storm. Lake level rose 2 to 3, not 2 to 3 inches, 2 to 3%. Probably, that was as of Tuesday. It's probably still rising. Not a lot of people have been fishing up there. They haven't got a lot of reports. I have a report from McClure, basically the sister lake up there. McClure and Don Pedro a lot of times fish pretty much the same. They had a tournament up there and they had some very low weights. I think it took 12 pounds or something to win it, and the guy that won it had that 12 pounds included a 9-pound fish. So other than that, really spotty fishing up there. It's been tough. It's going to be a reset week. If you have any questions, you want to go up and you're up there and you want to fish Don Pedro, call Aaron at 209-312-9417. That's Aaron at Central Valley Bait and Tackle, and he'll give you any up-to-date information that you may need. And again, we know that Don Pedro is going to start fishing well. It just has to level out from the tournaments. That brings us to the California Delta. We'll talk about stripers. We'll talk about largemouth bass. I need to, obviously, we'll start off because of the storms with some river conditions, which really didn't change the river a whole lot. For having, I'll say, 2.5 to 3 inches of water dump locally, we've got a good flush coming down. It's flushing the system. I was out Tuesday fishing, I'm just going to say from the head of the channel out to Prisoner's Point. Water clarity was still 5-6 feet. The water temperature was right about 60 degrees, and there wasn't a whole lot of debris flushing through the system. We might have to wait for a day or two. Maybe the lakes are going to start, opening up their dams. We may get a big flush. We may still have some debris floating down the river. But as of today, Wednesday, I'm out at Paradise Point. We still got 5-6 feet of visibility. There's not a lot of debris in the water, and fishing conditions are good out here. The one thing that I can say, water temperatures are dropping. Last week we had 64, 65, maybe 66 degrees. Water temperatures as of now anywhere from 59 to 62 degrees, and they could be dropping because we've had some very cold nights. But all in all, no reason not to get out when the weather's fine to get out and have some fun. So let's talk about stripers, and the general consensus is the stripers are moving from out around Pittsburgh, Grizzly Island, the big slug of fish that have been out there. They are slowly moving into the Central Delta. I talked to Rob Cloutier from the Bass Hole. Rob says that the striper count has increased both in Frank's Track, Little Frank's Track, and the guys that are out fishing. I'm going to say between Prisoner's Point and Edo's out on the channel. Old River, Middle River, he's seeing more and more fish come in. They're not in there in historic numbers just yet, but they are filtering into the system. Talked to Joey Price from Priceless Fishing. He's still fishing a little farther out west, out around that Pittsburgh area, Antioch, but he's moving slowly into the Central Delta. He had a great week on stripers, and he's doing multi-species trips. His top baits for stripers were the 168 S Waver, and when he's fishing top water, he's fishing a spook. Both of those are producing. A-rigs will also probably produce for stripers. With that, you move back in or down into around the local area, and local I'm talking about for me is from Lads out to Prisoner's Point, basically the head of the channel. More and more fish are showing up. There's still a lot of smaller fish out here. The guys that are catching fish, the keepers, are still kind of mostly schoolies, 18 to 22 inches, with a few fish in that 5 to 8 pound class. Last week there was a 15-pound fish come in here at Paradise Point, but those fish over 10, 12 pounds are still few and far between here in the Central Delta. I talked to Joe from Core Fishing, and Joe has a good network of striper folks that like to fish this area, and they're all, saying they're catching fish, but it's spotty. Joe feels like everyone else. I talked to him a little bit about when he usually finds the fish in here, and when he can really depend on coming out to the Central Delta and catching a limit of fish and maybe having fun with numbers of fish. Joe's still thinking that those fish are coming in, and this is the time that he's going to really start to concentrate. So I'm expecting Joe to give me some good reports coming up. He usually catches a lot of fish out here, and things are looking good for the stripers. Also got some reports from Discovery Bay. They're catching fish out there. I will also say that with the lack of debris, you guys that want to troll in the central, out on the channel, central delta, trolling, it might be a good bet that you can get out here and troll without worrying about a bunch of debris fouling you up. Also, I've been talking to the guys here at Paradise Point, still catching a lot of bluegill, so if you're looking to catch some live bait and come out and drift live bait, that's still an option for stripers. So that's the striper scene. What the heck's going on with the largemouth bass? I can tell you they're still active. I was out Tuesday, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. Caught plenty of fish, no size for me, but I was out just on kind of an exploratory trip. Let's talk about a few of the tournaments that went on to give you guys an idea of what the tournament guys are doing. Then we'll get into what some of the local guys are doing. So, still active out here. They had the Thursday tournament. I talked to Cam Cardoza, and his report was not good. Didn't even get some weights. They've been struggling out there in the South Delta for the last few weeks. Good fishermen, just been tough. They had another tough tournament, very low weights for the Thursday night tournament. The Delta Bass Club was out. They were out this weekend. They had 10 anglers out. And they had some low weights too. They had a couple of 10-pound bags. I think 10 pounds something won the tournament, 7 or 8 pound average. So they're catching fish, but just not what the Delta is known to produce, put it that way. I don't know what to say. Maybe the bright spot was the NorCal Bass Club tournament. They had 21 boats, a 2-day tournament. 2 days, top boat was 46.9, and that team had on day one a 23.33 pound bag. Day two was a 23.66 pound bag. Day one they had a 6.8 big fish. Day two they had a 6 pound 6 ounce big fish. That is very good fishing for this time of year, very consistent. Don't expect to do that if you go out. The top boats for the 21 boat field, first place was at 46.9 pounds. This is 2-day limit. Second place was 38.5, and third place was 36.5. Midfield had about 22 pounds, which is 11 pounds a day. 11 pounds a day, you're going out. I'm sure they just didn't catch their 5 or 6 fish. They probably caught some fish and had some fun. So not too bad. And the potential is still out there to get a 20-pound bag. It's just a lot tougher right now. Coach Ted has been going out almost every day. He's been throwing an A-rig, staying fairly close to, we'll say, the central delta between Lads and Prisoner's Point. Whiskey Slough, right in that area. And he's been catching a mix of stripers and largemouth. He has seen a decrease in the numbers and a decrease in the size. He's been throwing an A-rig a whole lot, still catching fish. Coach Ted is saying with these storms coming in, it's been day to day, and there has been opportunities where the fishing has been really good, but these bite windows are short and they're getting fewer and farther in between. Joey Price has been out. We talked about doing multi-day trips. He's been doing very well, and he's been moving around the Central Delta quite a bit. He's still getting a decent topwater bite for largemouth. He's getting a lot of nice fish on that S waiver that we talked about. He's also punching. He said if you want the better quality fish right now, you want to be punching out there. If you want the numbers, you want to throw a jerkbait, but you're not going to get the quality. And he suspects that punch bite is going to still be good for, hopefully throughout the winter. As I said, I was out Tuesday. More of an exploratory trip for me. I wanted to get out and look at the river so I can give you guys an idea of what's going on out here. My son Nathan and I fished for maybe 2 hours. We filmed a video. And by the way, I want to tell you about a video I have coming up. And you guys know, as a YouTube guy, I tend to get a lot of stuff sent to me to do reviews on. And I can tell you that Most of the things that I get, I don't even do a review because they just don't meet the standards that I would want to tell my audience, hey, you need to check this out and go out and buy it. But one thing that I have been very impressed with, and what I've done the review on and should be coming up hopefully next week or so, is this new Cast King magnesium titanium. It's the MGTI Elite reel. I've been using that reel for about 3 weeks, and it's an impressive reel. I'm not a big Cast King guy, or I haven't been a big Cast King guy until about 3 weeks ago. I'm going to do a review on this reel. If you're looking for a really nice bait casting reel that has a lot of nice features on it, I suggest you check out that review, and I'll have some nice, they gave me some nice discount codes that you'll be able to get a discount on them if you look at it, if you look at that reel and you think you like it. Well, with that being said, Nathan and I were out Tuesday. We fished for about 2 hours. Nathan threw a big glide bait for about maybe a half an hour. He had one pod of fish come up, looked like they were about 5-6 pounds, come up, and a couple of them took a swipe at it, one cast, but that was it. As far as stripers, we ended up with about 10 largemouth bass, mostly on jerk baits. I think out of that 10, 4 of them were keepers. They were all in that 14 to maybe 15-inch size, about, you know, those 1.75 pound to 2 pound fish. Not bad, not great. I think if we put in a little more time, we probably could have hit a bite window. And I think a lot of those 2.5 to 3 pound, 4 pound fish are still out there. It's just getting harder and harder to pick up those big fish. So with that, we're going to call this a reset for everywhere. Don't be afraid to go out, especially in between the storms. The sun's coming out right now. Bring a jacket. It's cool. I do suspect the water temperatures are going to be dropping. The nights have been cold here around downtown Stockton, but no reason not to come out and still enjoy the fishing out here. With that, if you get out there and you catch some fish, or you don't catch any fish, send me some pictures and send me a report. Until then, go out and have some fun. We'll see you guys on the river. Good luck.